Good evening, everyone, and warm welcome from OmDayal Group of Institutions to today's webinar. It is a great pleasure to see many registered participants. I am Dr. Shukonna, Assistant Professor at OmDayal Group of Institutions and the moderator of this webinar. OmDayal Group of Institutions is one of the premier educational institutes under Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology, providing BTech courses in civil engineering, mechanical engineering, computer science engineering, and electrical engineering, and BArch courses. The college is NAAC accredited and approved by AICTE and COA. Our topic today is Civil Engineering, Bridge to Success for Sustainable Future, presented by the Civil Engineering Department of OmDayal Group of Institutions. I would request the participants to mute their audio and video when the presentation is on. Before we start, let me explain how you can talk to us during the webinar. If you have any questions, please write them in the chat box and we will answer them at the end of the session. Now, with the outbreak of COVID-19, we are living in a different world, and here the change is inevitable. The impact of pandemic COVID-19 is felt in every sector around the world. The coronavirus pandemic has brought unprecedented challenges to the education sector at large. At the same time, the employment sector has also been badly affected by this. So, it is important for you to understand the threats in the new normal situation and acquire skills that will help you to develop your career. Today, we are privileged to hear from Professor Gotham Bondapatha, Head, Department of Civil Engineering, OmDayal Group of Institutions, and advisor to Messrs. Ion Exchange Infrastructure Limited. Mr. Shumantro Sengupta, Principal Consultant, Stoop Consultants Private Limited, and Mr. Sunil Sardar, Advisor Civil to Braithwaite and Company Limited. And we also have some of our ex-students of our alumni who are going to give you a brief overview of career options and share their experience about our college. Now, let me introduce you to Professor Gotham Bondapatha. Professor Bondapatha has worked in the industry, India and abroad, prior to joining teaching profession. He has over 45 years of experience in consultancy, project planning, design engineering, site and construction management. Presently, he is the departmental head of Civil Engineering Department in OmDayal Group of Institutions and associated with various consultancy firms as technical consultant and trainer, mentor to young engineers. Professor Bondapatha, if you please enlighten us on the scope and sustainability in civil engineering. Sir, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, welcome viewers and welcome my distinguished guest, Mr. Sunil Sardar and Mr. Shumantro Sengupta. I am obliged to them and for accepting my invitation and to join this webinar to enlighten the audience. Also, I welcome my beloved and very faithful alumni who are joined already here. They will also share their experience of college days and their career and this, higher studies. So how they are shaping up and why civil engineering important that they will share. So now I'll start my lecture. So all of you know, young aspirants to also you know that civil engineers create a nation and you simply cannot miss their creations wherever you look. Civil engineering played a significant role in development of the human race. The webinar will give you an insight into what civil engineering is, what its specialization and its scopes, and what's in it for your future and career. So meet us, hear us, and talk to us and find out all you want to know about civil engineering. In India, still, engineering is on the list when you hear of a graduation program. It is because the area has demonstrated repeatedly its development, adapted to rapidly changing requirements, and has already proved that knowledge and skills for a future fruitful career. So the area has become a minimum, or lot of streams are there. We'll talk about our civil engineering. Now, what do you mean by the civil engineering? The oldest disciple of engineering and one of the strong and evergreen disciplines in civil engineering. It deals with the architect constructing, designing, and sustaining natural and physical environments. So you know, such as airports, highways, bridges, waterways, canals, etc. Since the human occupation, civil engineering has existed and has gone on to construct major ventures such as, you know, Taj Mahal, Great Wall of China, and so on. Uh, and presently, the Burj Khalifa Tower. Then in our country, it is Otter Tunnel and your Banda only ceiling. So it is all marvel creation of civil engineering. So it is, I mean, I think as an engineer, as a civil engineer, and who are going to join, they will feel proud, I mean, to joining here. Now, also this involvement of technology, the face of civil engineering nowadays has changed. In particular, the your science of applying mathematics and science can be defined as designing and having a better place in which people can live. So we have to create a better place to live, because we have seen in this, I mean, pandemic condition. So India is growing quickly every day, and every day there is a greater need for participation to develop better. You should pursue in BTech civil engineering following 10 plus 2 PCM, that is physics, chemistry, and maths. You will explore your passion and hone your skill. Now let's now talk about the civil engineers and scope and future. A look at what civil engineering sector needs in this post-COVID-19 era to strengthen the country's infrastructure. So there is no other alternative way unless you develop your infrastructure from time to time to cater the, I mean, this our human development and the growth of the population. Now, from primitive hutments to early years to the sophisticated building era of the modern era, the growth of civil engineering industry has been phenomenal. So these achievements, you can also, I mean, visualize the thing. In last 10 to 5 years, what happened to Kolkata? So many, I mean, this commercial malls has come on. You can see underground tunneling work, then overhead metro railway and underground, mainly is underground tunneling below the Ganges river. So this is all creation of our civil engineering. And the residential high-rise buildings, commercial complexes, as I have said, the highways, waterways, railways, airports, tunnels, bridges, flyovers, and metros, and many more. So Mr. Sunil sir and Sumanto sir, all they will share their experience, as I mean, they have also involved in all this development of our infrastructure in our country. Okay, and I am not. I should take this opportunity. All of three speakers today, all we are from Jadavpur University. So let me take this opportunity to share our experience with you. Now, this from supply of potable water to creating water reservoirs, your this contribution from civil engineers are immense. The civil engineering industry is contributing to nearly 70% of the Indian economy, and this growth is about 8% per year. So this either directly or indirectly. The forum reveal, this is all what I am saying, how much is growth and all these things. This is from the Economic Times publications only. Now this forum reveal and is the second largest employment industry. Okay, somebody may ask, the last 5 years, employment is little bit. I'll show you in my second presentation where is the curve and how it is going and how it will go till 2028. So you will see the future. Our future is not, so okay. You please understand, if there has to be development in the country, the civil engineering works and job has to be developed. See, everything, whether it is architect, computer science, everything, even launching of your satellite station, all there is engineering, civil engineering involvement is there. Okay, so there is no doubt of your job should be there. Okay, but yes, it depends upon the this foreign investment and the policy of the your national and state government and the allocation of land. All these things are correlated. So let us not discuss all these things. Let us focus on what actually we can get from our this industry. Now, 50% of the planned outlay in the country is towards construction. It is imperative that for such a large national investment, optimum returns should be assured and wastage in construction be avoided. Now, let me also share with Sunil sir contribution, because when we are talking about this in this pandemic condition, see, he was the managing director and chairman cum managing director of the Bridge and Roof Company, that is your government of undertaking. In his tenure in 2020 and 21, Bridge and Roof has earned 6,000 crores of job and made profit of reasonable amount. So you can see in this pandemic condition also they have achieved so many jobs. They have backed 6,000 crore of a job in a year. Okay, so you can see our future growth, and don't be worried, and just concentrate on what actually you are reading and your career. Okay, but you should be tactful enough to choose your future steps. Now, how many civil engineers do we produce per year, and to what belong to related group? Now you can see about in India there are 6,057 colleges are there where they are producing engineer about 1.5 lakh per year, civil engineering, and actually our requirement by 2024 will be 3 lakhs of civil engineers. Now, while a civil engineer is a good career option, now over the past 5 years, as I said, the civil engineering has been a bit of slump in the Indian scenario. I am not talking about the global scenario. Yes, global scenario also there was a slump, but in Indian scenario it was a bit more. One of the biggest hurdles in this regard has been the supply and demand gap. That means if there is no investment from the foreign country, India is we are not strong enough economically. We have to get the funds from your foreign resources. So the last 2 years, you are seeing 1.5 years, the pandemic situation, no investment is coming. But I mean, we can see that in the year of 2022, we can expect more investment and lot of I mean infrastructure development will happen. Now, for that reason, the requirement of civil engineering will be by 2024 will be around 45 million employees. Thankfully, the avenues in front of civil engineering graduates are vast in 2025. Job opportunities will be booming in the field. In the fields such as your transportation, engineering, environmental engineering, it includes your climate technology, clean climate, everything it includes. Surveying, that includes again geoinformatics, GIS, structural engineering, it is a core subject, so it has to be there. Better materials, you have to choose the best better materials, smarter construction, and on top of this, we have to think about the carbon reduction, because our society, unless we reduce the carbon, unless we think of alternative energy, unless we think of alternative fuel, one day will be, there will not be enough fuel, petrol or diesel, and other this energy that then will not be able to survive. So we have to think about the renewable energy like solar energy and green technology and green engineering, your green belt, green building. So all these things, already we have started activity, and our alumni Priyam Patel in the last few days back, he has given us a lecture on these subjects only. So he will also again, he shared his experience and why it is needed. Now, civil engineering, then again comes the maintenance and your rehabilitation of the heritage building. So now actually the old building, heritage building, has to be rehabilitated. So there also we need civil engineers as well as architects. Civil engineers career prospects in India. Let's say that you are graduated with a undergraduate degree in civil engineering from a university in India. What next? We'll be pleased to know there are a plethora of options in front of you, but you have to be focused, and other things I'll share in my second, what is the prospect, what are the growth, all these things I'll share in my second presentation. Thank you so much. Now I'll hand over to Sukarna ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this enriching session. Moving on, our next speaker for the day is Mr. Sunil Shodhar, an alumnus of Jadavpur University. He has over 30 years of experience in Indian Railways in the field of planning, construction, and maintenance. He is also the ex-chairman and managing director of Bridge and Roof Company Limited. Presently, he is the advisor to Braithwaite and Company Limited. He is going to enlighten us on his journey as a civil engineer and about the prospects in civil engineering. I would request Professor Bondapatha sir to welcome our honorable speaker, Mr. Sunil sir.
Good afternoon, Sunil sir.
Sir, good
Thank
afternoon.
you very much for.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us this webinar. You please, enlighten rather us and our students and would-be aspiring students, but by sharing your, valued knowledge and your experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Sir, we can also share your this one. Okay.
No,
Carry
that
on.
I have already shared it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Professor Bondapatha, Sri Sumantra Sengupta, and above all, my dear students, I am thankful that I have been given the opportunity to share my experience and to tell something to motivate the young civil engineers. I hope that they have not been the engineers so far, they have just joined the classes. And at the beginning, it happens to everybody that that branch is good, that branch is better, that branch is the best, and like that, like that, like that. I'll try to restrict my presentation, my discussion. It is not a lecture, it is simply an experience sharing to such an extent that the boys and girls who have joined the engineering discipline, that is civil engineering, expecting something, a bright career tomorrow. Now, my topic is my journey as a civil engineer and prospects in civil engineering. Professor Bondapatha has said lot of things about the prospects in civil engineering. I'll try to give a brief from this practical point of view. What is the purpose of this interaction? So, just to acquaint you, I'm talking about the students with the vast prospects of civil engineering by sharing my professional journey as a civil engineer. You know that engineering is a field which has developed over the time along with the development of the human civilization. Initially, there is no branch of electrical, no mechanical, no computer science, no nothing. But as the human civilization progressed, so initially there is civil engineering. That's why civil engineering is the oldest branch of engineering. It is the grandfather of all branches of engineering. Now, subsequently, that steam engine was invented, mechanical engineering came, electricity was invented, electrical engineering came. Now, in the later stage, at the present moment, there is computer science. So this came when just we were coming out of the college during the early 80s. So that is, I've given 2 words over here, just to acquaint you with the vast prospect of civil engineering, how just sharing my experience. Now, how and why did I get into the branch of civil engineering? You see, before joining engineering, nobody knows whether he will join a civil engineering as a civil engineering student or he will join mechanical or so like this. Today, because in our time, there are very limited number of seats. But today there are, due to some reason, due to different types of decisions taken by government of India, different state governments, the lots of new colleges have come up. So some options are there. Now, how I came, it was by chance. As per the rank in the West Bengal Joint Entrance Examination, I appeared in 1979. Now, how I joined in Jadavpur University, again, it was Jadavpur University where I could get the opportunity. Now, question arises, why did I opt engineering? You see, truly speaking, I'm from the village. There was none studying, either studying or have studied engineering. So suddenly one day, I was with my mother. I was that time maybe of 10 years old or something like that. Some other lady, gentle lady came in our house and making some discussion with my mother. So I overheard that and I came to know that son of that gentle lady had been doing engineering. But what engineering, I can't recapitulate. That time, something came in my mind, okay, in future, I will try to be engineer. You see, I was not, mathematics was not my favorite subject. My aim was to study English literature, but there is something called destiny. We are science students, so we don't believe in this, but sometimes we have to believe in it. At least I believe in it. Now, one thing I have said that mathematics was not favorite subject. It does not mean that a subject has to be your favorite one. If human being tries, he can or she can do everything. So subsequently, I learned mathematics and it became my favorite subject. And I have spent almost my entire life based on mathematics. Engineering is nothing but it's mathematics. What went through my mind? Before joining the university, now I tried to join mechanical engineering. I did not get it. Jadavpur University denied it. Of course, I got it some other colleges of West Bengal. I was a little bit disappointed. They have not got it. Jadavpur has not given me. Many people will tell you, this is for the young children, boys and girls, you are like children of ours. So this is say that engineering padke kya hoga, there is no job, nothing, aap mat padho. So kindly don't listen to them. It happened to us also in those days. The people are ignorant, but even then they'll tell something to misguide you intentionally or take some credit out of you. After joining the university, so engineering mechanics appeared as the most difficult subject. Because professors, they used to tell something and we understand nahi ho raha hai, foreign kitab padha raha hai, all these issues. But fortunately, I got outstanding peer group, friend group, and professors in Jadavpur University. Here are two things I have highlighted, peer group and professors. You see, unless and until if you have good friend circle in engineering study, it is very difficult to learn the subject. In the next slide, I have covered it. Engineering without group study, it is very difficult to learn. Alone, you cannot. And secondly, professors. The professors are bundle of knowledge. This knowledge they have not gained one day. So 30, 40 years experience they have gained. So many times they have taught the same subject at that time. So boys and girls, I am advising you to try to learn from the professor, pay due regard to them, and unless and until you are paying due regard to the gurus, they will not give you the vidya. So that is it. Gradually, I started getting interest in civil engineering. You see, first year, first semester, then second semester, and second year, first semester onwards. So it attracted me a lot, and I simply came out of the dissatisfaction of not getting mechanical engineering. So this is a little bit personal, but it has got some purpose to tell. I'm telling you, because you might be young boys, those who have joined engineering, you might be thinking that civil engineering, had I got computer science, had I got electronics like this. So that's why I'm telling you, it also appeared in our mind when we started engineering, when we joined engineering. Just a minute. Huh? Now, after graduating from the university, so after 4 years of graduation, I got job as GET, General Graduate Engineer Trainee in Bridge and Tube Company India Limited. Then I left that. I joined MTech, but I did not complete that. I joined IOCL, Internal Corporation, again as GET. Then for some time, I worked about 1.5 years. I worked in ONGC as a class 1 officer. I have worked in Department of Telecommunications for 2.5 years as a designer of major structures. And ultimately, I joined railways. So I have worked in railways for 32 years. So one thing was telling that civil engineering, jobs prospect, nowadays people have got some myth. It is not good, but it is good. So otherwise, I would not have got so many jobs. In those days, in the 80s, early 80s, when the job market for the civil engineers was not so good. And ultimately, you see one thing, I have written the organization where I joined as the graduate engineer trainee, that is Bridge and Do, and I have retired from that organization as the chairman and managing director. My dear students, one thing I'm telling you, one day I repented for not being the mechanical engineer, but you see that in Bridge and Roof, it has got about 650 engineers, graduate engineers, diploma engineers, some are there. And more than 50% are mechanical engineers, starting from first assistant manager to executive director. And I was head of that, more than 350 mechanical engineers, being a civil engineer. So my purpose of telling here is that it does not make that whether you are a civil engineer or whether you are a mechanical engineer or anything else. In this case, you are a civil engineer, you have got equal, even more scope than any other engineering. As a civil engineer, I'll show you what are the job prospects. Well, I'll come to the main field for you. Now, one quote I have given over here, it does not matter what branch of engineering you study in. Knowledge gained in the subject is paramount. I'm telling you, in the engineering college, it is like a structure. Suppose if you want to build up a multi-story building, you have to provide good foundation. In engineering college, the professors, what they do, they provide foundation for you. And once you are coming out of the college, entering the industry, over the years, through experience, you will build up the superstructure. So that is this. Once you are establishing a good foundation, you're creating a good foundation for you from the engineering college. Tomorrow there you will not feel any difficulty to build up a huge superstructure on it. So I think you have understood what I want to mean is. I'm coming to the scope of civil engineering. Civil engineer. Now Professor Bondapatha has explained it. Now I'll tell in a more crystal manner. As a civil engineer, you can join any organization starting from your polytechnic as a lecturer, any university, even IIT and all this thing. Students, you are doing engineering now, just join. You complete 4 years of engineering. If you have got inclination towards it, you go for higher study. Tomorrow you'll do some MTech degree, that PhD from good IIT or some good university or some good other colleges. You'll find there is no depth of job. Only thing is that you have to spend about 4 or 5 years extra. But you know that once you are joining as a lecturer and retiring as a professor, your age of retirement is much high. It is 65 years in most of the cases. And whatever salary you will be losing for the initial period by not joining the industry, but joining the medical engineering college for higher study, you will earn much, much more than that. And that field will be a little bit different. So you can join those boys and girls who have got interest in academics, they can opt for that. I'm coming to the industry. Most of the civil engineers, they go for the industry. What are the construction industry? Now, construction, today there is boom of construction. Because of the COVID was started in India somewhere during the second week of March. I was chairman that time in Vijandu. Lots of problem. There is a lockdown. All sites are closed for 4 months. All the sites are closed. No construction activities and all this thing. But even that, the civil engineers, they have got the inbuilt capability. They, as soon as there is some laxity in the restrictions, they started working after 4 months. They have worked. We have booked orders 6,000 crore. That year is the highest ever order booking for the company. And in spite of the work remaining suspended for about 4 months, we could make profit. We are not dipped. And this all could be possible because of the civil engineers. You see, civil engineers can do miracle. So this is construction, various fields. You can go for the road construction because transportation is very much important today. You can go for railway engineering, railway construction. In the railway construction, road construction, you will do lot of earthwork in embankment, lots of cutting. You will have tunnel. You will have lots of major bridges. You will have minor bridges. You will have buildings and what not. Everything you will learn. You will have the track linking. You will have some other platform construction, and every sort of engineering you can apply while you are opting your career as a railway engineer or as a road engineer. Second, you can go for the multi-story building construction also. That is another scope of construction. You can develop yourself as a road over bridge constructor. So engineer, specialty in road over bridge. So that way there is no end of the field where you can engage yourself. Planning and design. Now I will tell one thing. So planning and design, if somebody is interested, so kindly do in graduation, BTech is adequate for doing the design. But even then I will tell that kindly work for some time in the field, 1 year or 2 years, because you can give justice to a structure in the design, provided you know the structure physically. Unless closing your eyes, you can imagine the entire structure in your mind. It is very difficult to give justice to the structure. In Jadavpur University, there are two alumni of Jadavpur University over here. Professor Shom sir has left us. He used to tell us while he taught us in 3rd year and 4th year structure, theory of structure, he said, close your eyes and feel the structure under the loading, how it can behave, and then you proceed analyzing it. So those who are opting for planning and design, so it is a guidance from me, it is an advice from me that you work for something in the field. Then and only then you can give due justice to the design. And survey, today's survey is huge field. You can go for the land survey, you can go for the marine survey. I have worked in ONGC as a marine surveyor. Marine offshore shallow investigation was my job. So there is so many surveys, another massive field. If you are going a railway line construction, you have to know the survey. You are going to construct a road, you have to know the survey. You may construct a railway line or road in the hilly terrain. It is more dangerous. So you have to know how to do the survey for a tunnel. From both sides, the tunnel is coming, but at one time it will meet together. So that is a very, very sophisticated job, surveying another part. Estimation is very much required for the tendering. So after the drawing, actual estimation is required twice. One is estimation for a preliminary estimation for getting the work sanctioned or for taking the approval of the competent authority. You do some abstract estimation. But after the design is done, working drawing is prepared, then estimation is made, that is a detailed estimation based upon which the tenders are awarded. So if you are in the contractor side, then based upon which you have to quote your rate. Those you are at the client side, then you have to decide your rate, you have to finalize the tender, you have to evaluate your tender and all these things. Project management professional, nowadays, huge demand is there. If you gain knowledge, say in railway engineering, say some other in design, so you can work as a project management consultant also. In design, particularly it is in construction, but even in design, you can go for the project management consultant. Then R&D, there are lots of organizations where you can join R&D. I'm telling you, nothing can be done without the help of civil engineering. If you want to start something, you have to go for a initial soil investigation. If you want to construct a survey, that is the job of civil engineering. You have to construct building. You have to go for the land. This is leveling, everything. You have to provide water. You have to go for sanitation. All these are civil engineering jobs. So without civil engineering, nothing is possible. Now, own business, those who have acumen, business acumen, they can join their own business. Now, I'm coming to the government sector jobs. You can go for the just one thing I'm saying, academics, that is also government is there, private is there today. Industry, government is there, private is there. Again, R&D, it is mostly government or some private organizations or undertakings are there, those who have R&D organizations. Now I'm coming to the government sector where a civil engineer can join. It is their birthright to join. central government. So in central government, there are lots of organizations. Indian Railways, they recruit lots of civil engineers. You see, Indian Railways civil engineers is at the top. It is everything, above everything is civil engineers there. So then it is coming CPWD, your BRO, Border Rates Organization, then Military Engineering Service, the Department of Telecommunication, and so many other areas where you can join. You can join even as a junior engineer, nothing wrong. If you are joining as a junior engineer, as a graduate engineer, after 5 years, 6 or 7 years, you will be officer and you will go much higher. Otherwise, you have to come through the Indian Engineering Service. State governments, so you have got PWD. PWD recruits lots of engineers every year in the road cadres, in the building cadres, in irrigation, everything, in municipalities, in corporations, and in other areas also. So these are not the exhaustive. This is some of the examples also. So kindly not think anything the negative that tomorrow there may be shortage of job. There is no shortage of job. Yes, so you may not get initially big job like this, what people think, to become boss. So boss cannot be in one day. You have to, first of all, you have to gain knowledge and then you can claim bossism. Otherwise, not possible. Nobody is going to accept you as boss. Okay. So these are so many fields where you can build up your career. Just next one. So in a small presentation, just I have tried to motivate you and to give you some tips, information. Now I'm telling you, you have joined the oldest and the father of all the branches of engineering. I would say the grandfather of all the branches of engineering. Be proud to be a civil engineer. Be proud to be a civil engineer wherever you are joining, whatever maybe other engineering branches. Those engineers will come to you initially and request you, sir, this is to be done, kindly help us. Without civil engineering, nothing can be done. So please raise your head high that you have joined the oldest branch of engineer and father of all branches of engineering. I have lost one, just a minute. You see, this is one thing I am telling you. Never bring in mind that you are inferior to anybody in respect of anything. Today is in our days, the seats were limited, but the competition was not so intense, not so tough as it is today. Suppose a boy or a girl who has obtained the rank of 5,000, he has joined a government engineering college. Another person, boy or girl who has joined 5,001, he has joined private engineering college. And you know that in joint entrance examination, in 5 marks, at least 200-300 ranks are made different. It is a chance, by chance somebody has gone in the government college, somebody has joined the private college. You have got a platform, you try to prove that, yes, I can do. Don't think that you are inferior in any way in respect of the students who have joined the government engineering college or anywhere in the India. So don't think that. You are equally good, you are equally competent, you are equally intelligent. Yes, provided you apply your knowledge. Second, concentrate more on the subject of civil engineering that we find more interesting. Now you are in the first year. You see civil engineering so vast, over 1,000 over years, so that you know that huge study. You will be taught soil mechanics, you will be taught foundation engineering, you will be taught hydraulics, your hydraulic structures, you will be taught theory of structure, mechanics of structure, design, steel design, pistons. So there will be so many things will be taught. No human being can learn all these things equally. And everything will not be easily acceptable or liking to everybody. So please check that what the subjects of your choice you are liking. You concentrate more on that subjects. You see, in civil engineering, if you know only your soil mechanics, there are ample jobs for it, and in every interview you can flourish. Sir, हमें वो पूछेगा आपको कि which branch of engineering you like most, which subject. बोले हम सर mechanics, soil mechanics. तो उसी में आपको आधा question करेगा, then you can prove yourself. So that is one thing. The subject you like most, you concentrate more. It does not mean that you neglect other subject, but you concentrate more on that subject, keeping in view that tomorrow I'll build up my career, professional career in that subject, in that field. Number 3, do not immediately go for studying books written by the foreign authors. You see, in the first year, some students, they commit mistake. They bring motivated kitabe written by foreign writers. You see, foreign writers, as I've told you, that civilization culture is related to engineering and more with the civil engineering. So their presentation, their convention, little bit different from ours. So that's why initially you study the books written by Indian authors, good Indian authors. There is no depth of Indian authors. You see, in India, we have got a lot of books. So kindly go through that in the first year, second year, third year. Just I'm telling you next part. As far as possible, study one good textbook thoroughly for each subject. So kindly do not depend upon the notes of the professors. In that case, you may not learn the basics of the subject. Unless you know the basics of the subject, tomorrow you cannot come out raising your hat from the interview board. In the interview board, they will ask you the basic questions, not big mathematics or everything, big design. They will simply check whether you know the subject or not, whether you have got the basics or not, whether something has sedimented in you or not. So for that, I'm telling you, one textbook, please read it thoroughly as you have read in school level. Some students, some of our friends, they may spell something, criticize something, but don't listen to all these negative things. You simply study this. It will give you a lot of benefit in the long run. Group study for doubt clearance and learning a subject. You see, engineering is such a subject that if you do not resort to group study, it is very difficult to clear the doubts. So we make groups 4, 5, 6, 7, those who are staying in the hostel or otherwise, you do the group study. You एक subject को बोलिए कि फलाना दिन में on that day we will discuss about this on this topic. So तुम पढ़ के आ जाओ, वो बोलेगा हम पढ़ के आकर के then you do the group study. Then जिसके अंदर में जो shortfall रहेगा, immediately he will learn that. Then rely on the authentic documents. अभी आज के दिन में all these document groups, this lecture notes are available in the website. Please go to that. Lecture notes of the IIT professors, different universities. Engineering is a study of concept. So if you are missing the link, you have lost. So that's why do not snap the link. You attend the classes, please. So if you are not attending the classes and professor is teaching the strain energy method of analysis of indeterminate structure, if you are coming after 1 week, I am very sure you can't learn. Then you have to depend upon your friends, or you have to go to sir, I am not understanding. So that's why do not snap the link. Since beginning of your study, be aware of the career development, career planning. What happens, you know that students at the 4th year, they think about the job. So kindly do not do. Starting from the 1st year, some of the topics you start reading. What are those? You try to learn general knowledge, general study, current affairs, try to know the reasoning, basic mathematics. So in every competitive examination, all these questions will come. So keep yourself abreast with the environment and try to know, try to analyze. You take employment news yourself. So, and some other things, you see the net, what are the job career aspects are coming. So at least from 2nd year, you please try to do that. It will give you a lot of benefits. That's what I'm giving you from my experience. Work hard. I'm telling you, there is no shortcut path to success. You are tremendously intelligent, but you have not worked hard. I'm very sure a boy who is of mediocre standard, and if he works hard, he will go above you. So that's why kindly work hard. Success never comes without hard work. So if you want to become successful, you have to work hard. So I have taken some time. I have told the gist. So this is now is a time of question. If any student has got anything to ask, so kindly ask me. So if you have got a doubt, do not hesitate to ask. 1, 2, 3 questions you can ask. You can keep 5 minutes for question answer.
Suparna, that will be end of the.
What will be?
That will be at the end of the session, sir. All together.
Okay. So I wish all the best to all the young would-be civil engineers. So thank you very much for listening to me. And I also thank Professor Bondapatha and others for giving me the opportunity to share my experience, share my advice with these young civil engineers who are would-be civil engineers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I hope the students have understood that what are the career options available to them in today's world. Now, moving on, we have brief overviews from our alumni. Shudeshna Maiti, pass out batch 2016, a very dedicated student, is presently working as highway design engineer in Stoop Consultants Private Limited. Shudeshna, I would request you to share your experience about the college and about the prospects of a civil engineer.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Shudeshna.
Good evening, everyone. Our chief guest, my professors, my friends. I would like to thank Professor Gotham Bondapatha for inviting me today. It gives me immense pleasure to extend a very warm welcome to all of you present here on the webinar and who are currently watching the Facebook Live on behalf of the OmDayal Group of Institutions. My name is Shudeshna Maiti. I am from the batch of 2016 Civil Engineering. I am currently working as an Assistant Highway Design Engineer and Planning Engineer for Stoop Consultant Private Limited, Kolkata. I have spent 5 years in this company, joining as a trainee engineer and rising up to assistant engineer. In these 5 years, I have worked on many projects, national and international. The highlights being national highway design, railways, junction design, design of hill roads, Bangladesh border roads. This project involved proper application of designing like geometric design, pavement design, drainage design, planning of signage marking. To be very honest, back in 2012, when I enrolled for civil engineering program in OmDayal, I had barely any idea about civil engineering or how diverse its application is. I was even below of an average student, but after I joined the program, I certainly grow some interest in highway design engineering, highway engineering basically. The professors helped me to grow the passion into profession. The 4 years at OmDayal had taught me various concepts of civil engineering. Basically, in the first 1 year will be basic engineering courses, and the last 3 years will be core civil engineering subjects like structural engineering, transportation engineering, bridge engineering, soil engineering. Also, there will be various labs and workshops throughout the program where one can actually learn what can be done in field lab. Very little, but yeah, that will be there. Also, we learned basic softwares like AutoCAD in our college. Also, a few design softwares were there like StatPro, ArcGIS, which is broadly applicable by them. And I also could not thank more to Professor Mrinal Mukherjee, who coached us about structural design back in our graduation years. We mostly learned from the lecture season and group studies. Thanks to all my professors of OmDayal, and I tell you, among all the department in OmDayal, civil engineering department totally stands out in terms of quality teaching, hands-on experience, industry expert season, all that, you know. Now coming to the diversification in the field of civil engineering, a civil engineer can take up his career in any way. One can further study doing MTech, MS or ME. If he wants to stick to the core side of the job, can become a surveyor to construction engineer to design engineer, structural engineer, or a transport engineer, you know. And with experience, can move towards project management and becoming a project manager and managing large scale of projects. Uh, Before I conclude, I would like to say a few words about sustainable future of civil engineering. As we all know, sustainability is the need of the hour in this current one. Thus, we as a civil engineer need to focus more on that in engineering aspect. Just to give you a gist, sustainable construction means using renewable and recyclable material when building new structures, as well as reducing energy consumption and waste. Like in highway sustainable construction, the goal is to maximize the lifetime of a highway while restricting its emission. You know, although our panel experts will be explaining in depth, while actually what actually is sustainability in civil engineering as well as sustainable career option is civil engineering. Uh, Mr. Priyank Patel, who is my friend, he's there. He'll be telling something about green building also. As our guest speaker, Mr. Sunil Sardar, sir, said that civil engineering is the oldest branch of engineering, and it has been developing from cave dwelling to palaces and mud roads to elevated highways, tunnels. We have really come a long, long way. As Gautam Bondapatha sir said earlier, that civil engineers are the pioneers in building the nation. Uh, so wherever wherever you will be doing after graduation, uh, the 4 year of your graduation, you know, you will be seasoned. You will be seasoned during those 4 years of your graduation. So I can only suggest to take this challenging opportunity and feel special that in one way, in one classic way, you are going to serve the nation. So that was all. Thank you, and I wish everybody to stay safe and healthy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shudeshna. Moving on, we have Priyank Patil, pass out batch 2016. Being a very hardworking and diligent person, he has been able to achieve the position of director. Presently, he is the director of operations and business at Livotia India Sustainable Transformation. Priyank, how did your experience at OmDayal Group of Institutions help you find your position after graduation? And also tell us something about the prospects of a civil engineer.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for this lovely introduction. Firstly, apologies for not being able to put my video on because I think I have some internet bandwidth issues, and
No issue.
whenever I'm putting it on, so there are some.
No
So,
issue.
yeah,
Carry on. Welcome.
Okay, carry on.
Carrying on with the introduction. Yeah, I am Priyank, and I at present I work for a company which is named Levolt Private Limited. So mostly I work as a business development director, and the idea is to understand. See, I'll tell you how I started with my journey with civil engineering and all. And mostly I would also like to emphasize upon the interpersonal skills, which are very important in an engineer's life and in an engineer's career. And without these skills, the interpersonal skills like communication skills, the management skills, how you manage, how you talk, without these skills, it is not very possible to rise high up in your career field. So I'm very thankful to my college to provide me a platform which continuously helped me experiment, evaluate, and further come out in a better manner, because with the help of the kind of associations I got from college, like participations in numerous fests, numerous events. So overall, a cultural life, which is very imperative and very important in overall molding of a person in 4 years of time frame. Because education is fine. 4 years of what you get education is fine in a college, but at the same time, these all extra skills which come along with as a package in a college is something which you don't get everywhere. So that's why I'm very thankful to this college. And apart from that, when it comes to sustainability and green buildings, so yes, from the very initial days only, my focus was like I was trying to understand more about sustainability, delve deeper into it, and trying to understand the change management, sustainable business transformation. And I realized that this is going to be a very interesting thing, because and definitely it is, as Sudeshna said, it is the need of the hour. And we all know that how important it is to inculcate sustainable habits, practices into each and every field. As we see that being an engineer can work in so many different fields, and in every field there is a application of sustainability, be it in transportation, environment, concrete, like in terms of materials, and everywhere we have a role to play. So the idea is that it is very diverse field, which gives you a lot of options, plethora of opportunities. And always as sir was mentioning, SK Sardar sir was mentioning about destiny. So I would say that one should always work hard and try to be open with all the options what they can see in and try to experiment with as many things as possible, so that whatever the destiny is, they will definitely get that in the longer run. But they should be able to experiment and innovate. Then only this kind of system should be there. And definitely I'm thankful to the college for getting me that kind of a platform and opportunity. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank
you.
you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priyank. Moving on to the second part of the webinar, we have an eminent speaker, Mr. Shumantro Shengupto, Principal Consultant, Stoop Consultants Private Limited. Mr. Shengupto is an alumnus of Jadavpur University and is pursuing PhD from IIT Guwahati on earthquake engineering. His research works have been published in several reputed international journals. He has also handled several exclusive and elite projects in different parts of India. He has over 29 years of industrial experience. It is our proud privilege to welcome him to the webinar and hear a lecture on the topic, Trends in Civil Engineering to Success for Sustainable Development. I now request Professor Bondapatha sir to welcome Mr. Shengupto sir.
Welcome, Sumanto. Hello.
Yes,
Can
I can
you-
hear you. Yes, right.
Good evening.
Good
So
evening.
actually, let me introduce you to my viewers. He's a man of actually bridge and highway. Okay. She has already designed more than 300 bridges. Small, big span, long span, short span. So, I mean, he will share his, all the experience and knowledge to you. And in future, when, all this, your pendulum condition is not there, I'll request him to come to our college to give you, physically some lectures. Okay.
Thank
Carry
you.
on, Sumanto sir.
Okay,
Thank
I'm
you.
sharing my screen.
Yes, sure.
I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah.
Is it visible, my
Yeah,
screen?
yes.
Okay. Okay, good evening, everybody. First of all, I want to thank to OmDayal Group of Institutions for inviting me to be a part of this webinar. I would like to thank to Professor, Head of the Department, Gotham Bondapatha. At the same time, your alumni, Sudeshna Maiti, for calling me for this invitation. For the last half an hour or 1 hour, I am listening to Dr. Bondapatha, then Mr. Shadar, then Sudeshna, and then Priyank. Mr. Shadar has given very good points, which I really appreciated. That first thing he said that hard work, that is the first and foremost thing. And second thing, very interesting thing, what he has said, that whenever you want to learn some subject, stick to one particular group, one particular book, and go through it. That's a very good advice from Mr. Shadar. Professor Gautam Bandyopadhyay, he has said very good words regarding the opportunities in civil engineering. And I am really, what Sudeshna, the way she has put her thoughts, I really, it's a very interesting experience for me to hear Sudeshna first time. And at the same time, Priyank also. I have been asked to say something on the topic of this webinar, Civil Engineering Bridges to Success for Sustainable Future. From the very start of the human civilization, when humans start to transform from nomadic existence to village life, the construction activity started. Shelter for the dwelling purpose, the construction of shelter for the dwelling purpose, construction of the road for transportation purpose, construction of water supply, sewerage channel for the living of the people at that time. We have seen ancient civilization where a lot of very interesting and very intricate structures they have given us. For example, in Roman civilization, this water conduit, the water is being transported at the top. At the top, this is the channel, which is not visible. This structure has been constructed for water transport from one point to another. Ancient Egypt civilization, where they have constructed pyramids, which are mainly made for preservation of dead bodies of the royal family. Indus Valley civilization, Mohenjo-daro, is a very intricate design and construction of water supply and sewerage system. Mesopotamia, ancient Iraq, the buildings they have constructed, all these structures were constructed between 3000 BC to 1000 BC. All these interesting and very intricate and robust large structures. As such, civil engineering name was coined sometimes in the year 18th century, just to distinguish it from non-military engineering. Basically, civil engineering as engineering discipline came after military engineering. So just to distinguish it from non-military engineering, civil engineering, this word was coined. And with progress of time, with advent of technology, we have come to see this kind of modern city where we are now living. These cities are the jumble of skyscrapers, the maze of roads, road network, flyovers. As such, these modern cities look very modern, but at the same time, these are very complex. And with advent of technology, with advancement of industrial progress, what we have seen that we are polluting the nature, we are encroaching to the excessive use of non-renewable energy resources, and we are polluting excessively to the nature in the form of water pollution, in the form of ground pollution, in the form of air pollution. As a result, what is happening that we are encroaching to a non-sustainable future. As civil engineer, we have lots of responsibility to take this. We have to think that whenever we are constructing something, we are doing something, we are doing some planning for construction, we have to think, this thought should be there that whatever we are doing, that should be, first of all, self-sustainable. Second thing, we should encroach in minimum encroachment in the use of non-renewable energy resources. And at the same time, we have to pollute the nature minimum. Why I'm saying pollute the nature minimum or environmental impact, minimum environmental impact? Because in any type of development, construction development, we cannot think of zero environmental impact. There must be some impact, but we have to think, we have to do the thing in such a way so that the impact is a minimum. I will share some of my own experience, which I have gathered in my professional career. I have been associated with many projects. I will share with you some of the projects which I can say that some thoughts have been given prior to the implementation of the projects, so that it can be self-sustainable. At the same time, it has a very minimum environment impact, and at the same time, the pollution-wise, it should pollute the nature in a minimum way. And lastly, it is encroaching the excess of use of non-renewable resources, natural resources. It should not be like that. It is not like that. There are few I have taken to show you: the construction of railway bridges, construction of underground metro station. Why it is important? Because this leads to reduced use of overground space, because we know that overground space is limited. The more we use overground space, we have to encroach to the forest, we have to cut the trees. But instead of doing that, if we can use our underground space, that will less affect our environment. Construction of water supply system in hilly area, where we have tried to maximum use of gravity flow and minimum use of pumping. Construction of drainage system with a maximum gravity flow, what we have considered for water supply, and minimum pumping. Construction of solid waste management system with proper composting. We'll see that in the city, the amount of solid waste is being generated. That is, instead of throwing it in the ground, instead of polluting the ground, we are using how it is being used in the compost plant and finally it is the produce is being used as a fertilizer for the agricultural industry. Construction of port and harbor, jetty for water transport. Wherever the rivers are there, we can think of water transport. For that, port, harbor, jetty is required. We have to construct these structures. And if we can depend on water transport, that is more the better, in the sense the environmental impact ways, it is much better compared to road transport. Construction of railway bridges. Very recently, not very recently, for the last 10 years time, NF Railway has started to connect the northeastern states which are yet to be connected. Mizoram, Manipur, Nagaland, most of the areas are hilly, and as a result, what is happening that this yellow line is basically the national highway, and these are the bridges on the railway line. As this is a completely hilly area, wherever the hills are being encountered, the train is passing through the hill in the form of tunnel. And wherever the gorges are coming, the trains are passing through the gorges, through the bridges. So succession of tunnels and bridges are there in this particular project. This is one of the artist's impression of the tallest bridge, one of the tallest bridges. Here the pier height is 141 meter, and these superstructures are 106 meter span. And railway, as per railway, what they have seen that this is perhaps the tallest railway bridge pier in the world. They are going to construct this thing. This is under construction, and this is the one. This is the construction picture. This is the pier which they are saying 141 meter tall pier, but they are claiming as the tallest pier for the railway bridges. This pier is 100 meter. These are the last pier which is visible here, 50 meter. And at the farthest point, we can see the tunnel. So the train is emerging from the tunnel and it will cross the gorge through this bridge. Here when we have designed this structure, lot of technology has been applied, lot of seismic analysis. For seismic analysis, we have considered not only the code, we have considered the site-specific spectrum, we have done the time history analysis. Then for the wind tunnel test, we have also done, because it's a very tall structure. So wind tunnel test we have gone for in IIT Kanpur. There's wind tunnel facilities there. We have done the entire bridge. We have modeled in the wind tunnel, and we have done the wind tunnel test here to understand that what is our analytical result, to compare this thing, what the model is giving. Because in most of the cases, what happens that across wind analysis we can do analytically, but the effect of one pier on the other, that means if the wind blows in along the direction of the bridge, in that case, effect of one pier will come on the other. So that effect generally we do not able to understand analytically. So that kind of thing and only is possible through a wind tunnel test, which has been done in IIT Kanpur. This picture I am showing just to give you some feel that this structure, this 141 meter tall pier where the diameter is 16 meter, all along the diameter is 16 meter, but it is reducing the thickness internally. It's not visible. Inside the thickness is gradual. It's not gradually decreasing. Discretely it is decreasing. At the top 50 meter, it is a 500 millimeter thickness. Next 50 meter, it is 750 millimeter thickness, and the remaining portion is 750 millimeter thickness. And obviously there is some flare at the bottom, which is this flare is because of the maximum bending moment is coming at the cantilever tip, and the maximum stress is also coming at this point. So there is some flare is there. So instead of 16 meter, this flare is almost 18 meter. And as foundation below this structure, we have this pile cap where 9 by 9 piles are there. 189 by 9 means 81 number of piles. Each pile is 1.5 meter diameter, and they have gone inside the ground 30 meter deep pile. And this here 30 meter deep pile is not a very long pile, but here we have got a very good soil. In mostly below 5 meter, we are getting disintegrated rock where sufficient horizontal and vertical capacity we are getting. Here, this is one of the construction picture. This span is 106 meter. This span is 69 meter, and this bridge is almost 100 meter above the ground level. And this construction is being done through cantilever launching. That means this span has been first constructed. Rather, I will say that the one span which is on the ground, that has been constructed first, and after that, with respect to that particular span, this one has been cantilevered. And similarly, when this one has been constructed, this one has been cantilevered from this one. That means there is no direct support from the bottom. The entire thing has been constructed, has been erected from the top. This one, you see that there's a crane still there. This crane is taking each and every member one by one, and it is joining, and it has finally we are seeing the complete picture. So this there is no intermediate support from the ground we have considered for erection of these spans. The entire thing has been constructed from the top. But at one point of time, this was being thought by railway people that instead of bridge, because these bridges are very tall, and what will be the behavior of the bridge, nobody understands, because this is the first time we are going for this kind of tall bridges. So at one point of time, they were thinking that instead of bridge, if we can think of earthen embankment. But that kind of thought is very much dangerous, because on 141 meter tall earthen embankment, this is the elevation of the bridge. So this entire thing will be filled up with earth. And if you see the cross section, this will be the cross section. At the top, rail will move, train will move, and with 1:2 slope, which will be the stable slope. And at every 5-meter vertical height interval, there will be some 3-meter berm. As a result, what is happening that our base of this embankment is becoming almost 1 kilometer. So 1 kilometer by 141 meter tall. This is just like as a hill. Preparation is a construction of one hill. But if we had constructed this thing, it would have completely changed the environment, local environment. So instead of that thing, finally, the railway people became bold enough to take the decision that they will go for this kind of bridge so that it will minimum affect the environment. So that is the story of our this NF railway. And there are many such bridges which we have just seen are being constructed there. Construction of underground metro station. We have already discussed that the more we are using underground area, the less we'll be able to use overground area, which is limited. We can use less use. We can go for less use of overground area. We can go for less destruction of forest, less cutting of trees. Here, one of such examples is underground metro station. In Calcutta, also there are many underground metro stations are being constructed, which are also being done by our organizations to consultants. In Fulbagan, in Shialda, these are the east-west corridor. In the along the east-west corridor, these stations are there. This particular station is basically constructed in New Delhi. This was actually connecting station with the Indira Gandhi International Airport. There are facility that means from this station, passengers can directly go to the Indira Gandhi International Airport, and their luggages are also can be handled directly from here, from the underground metro station to the international airport. Here, this is 4 meter below the ground level. The top 4 meter is the earth fill, and below which our station structure is there. This is called concourse level structure, where the passengers move, and this is the train movement. Overall, this is almost 20 meter. That means from the ground level, it is almost 20 meter. So many piles are there, so many diaphragm walls are there. And the construction activity is also very complicated. Complicated in the sense we do not excavate everything. We go for top-down method of construction. That means we first construct this diaphragm wall, and then we cut the soil. Then we first construct this top level of the slab, and then again we come down, then we do the construction of the second level of slab, and again come down and we do the construction of the third level, last level of the slab, that way. But during the construction, particularly in Kolkata, as our city is 300 years old, more than 300 years old, and these constructions are being done in the road, along the road. As a result, what is happening that at the both sides of the road, old structures, there are 100 years old structure, 200 years old structures are there. So these are very vulnerable. So during construction, we had to take a lot of care so that there should not be any movement in the ground. Any small amount of movement in the ground may cause a complete failure of these structures, which are almost 100 years or 200 years old. Another example, construction of water supply system in hilly area, maximum use of gravity flow and minimum use of pumping. This picture is the river bed. In hilly river, you'll see in most of the hilly rivers, the nature of the hilly river is the water depth is very shallow. Here, when we have taken the picture, is not more than ankle depth water, but the maximum water height is not more than 1 meter. But even under this ankle water height condition, water flow, the velocity is extremely high. It's almost 5 to 6 meter water velocity. What we have planned here, this is the river bed, and these are very close, the hills are there. And this is the picture we have taken from the top where we are standing, which is basically 200 meter above the river bed. And at this position, where from we have taken the picture, we are planning to prepare, construct our water treatment plant. We found a lot of, is a New Shillong Township water supply scheme. We have tried to find out a lot of, we have seen a lot of water sources which are not very close to the New Shillong Township. But finally, we have considered this one as we found that this is the first of all, this is the nearest one, and this is, if we consider use this water, this will minimum affect the environment. What we have envisaged, the construction is yet to be done, but the planning was this here will construct one embankment, high embankment kind of thing. That means which will be obstruction, and this obstruction will cause water to rise, and finally there will be almost 40-meter high, 30-meter height of water will be there, and this will inundate this entire area and will form one dam. Yes, of course, the moment we are forming this dam, there will be a lot of environment effect. It will affect the local environment, but we have found, we have seen, we have done the comparative analysis, which particular water source in the form of dam or in the form of other way is causing minimum environment impact. We found this is causing the minimum one, and this is, as this is the nearest one, nearest to our water treatment plant, we found the pumping is also becoming minimum. Here, this is the 200-meter below. Our planning was, which has not been constructed yet, will be constructed. Here, our obstruction will come, and as a result, the dam will be constructed. And within the dam, we'll construct one 40-meter tall intake structure, which will pump the water from 200-meter below to this place. And finally, it will reach, this is the river, this point is 200-meter above, so finally it will reach here, and this point is strategically, we have considered this thing for our water treatment plant, because this point is the highest point of this entire area. This is another gorge, and this area is also high, and this is the highest area. We planned in such a way, our location of the water treatment plant in such a way, so that if this is, once the water is pumped from this river to water treatment plant, after the treatment, entire water we can transport by gravity, even crossing this gorge up to this level. This is 200-meter above this river, and this is almost 150-meter. We found that this is almost 5-kilometer distance. We found that we can send the water, transport the water without any pumping. And this particular area is not having any overhead reservoir. This is overhead reservoir. These overhead reservoirs are have been considered in this area, where after water transport we found that water pressure has become very low. So locally we have considered some water overhead reservoir like this. So we have tried to do the engineering in such a way so that it will affect the environment minimum. It will use pumping minimum, and we can use the gravitational flow maximum. Stormwater drainage system, the same area we have designed the stormwater, the same thing as this is the gorge, and entire stormwater will pass finally to this area, so that here we were able to do the drainage system in such a way so that not a single pumping was done. But this kind of hilly city drainage system, design of the drainage system for this kind of hilly city is comparatively easier in the sense we don't have to go for pumping, we don't have to resort for pumping. But in case of a city where it is in plain, then of course we have to think of some intermediate pumping, because otherwise we cannot continuously think of as a underground gravitational flow sewerage system, because at one point of time, after traveling some distance, the level of the drainage system will be such that it will be almost 4 or 5 meters, which will not be feasible. We should not go for any further depth for our drainage system. At that location, we have to think of some lifting pumping station. But as this is a hilly area, we could have done entirely gravitational flow. Construction of solid waste management system with proper composting. This is in Agartala. In Agartala city, we have done this. This is the compost plant. This picture is of course not from Agartala, because I don't have any picture of this one. This is Agartala. This project was done long back in the year, I think 2006. So that's why I don't have any picture. Here we have considered this compost plant. This compost is the solid waste which is being generated from the city dwellers. That is not being thrown to the ground. Rather, these wastes are being used for the composting. And finally, the waste is being used in as fertilizer in the agricultural industry. River jetty. This is Ashuganj River. Vairavi is a city. Vairavi is a city. Rather, Ashuganj is the city and the river is the Vairavi in Bangladesh. This is a small port which is being used here. Here we have planned one large port for the cargo, handling of cargo. And wherever the river transport is possible, if we can, in particular Bangladesh, there are completely there's a good network of rivers there, and they have very good water transport system also. And this water transport system, the better we can go for the water transport system, the less we can use, we can go for less environment affecting the environment, because of course if you go for the river transport, less affect environment than the road transport. But of course there are many other disadvantages in road transport also. But if it is possible, if the system, if it is available, the rivers are available, we can think of better road transport like what Bangladesh is doing. This is Paradip port. We have done a lot of works in Paradip. In fact, this is a ship, which is this particular berth was designed for 70,000 dead weight tonnage of ship. This ship is of course less than 70,000 DWT. 70,000 dead weight tonnage means this ship can handle 70,000 tonnage of material. And this berth was designed for 70,000 deadweight tonnage of ship. Now, in Paradip, when we started work, I actually started my career in Stoop Consultants in 1992, and this is basically my first structure which I designed. In 92, 93, I extensively worked in Paradip port with Stoop Consultants, and I have done a lot of berth structure, design of berth structure, which was constructed at that time by Cemindia, which is now ITD Cementation now. At that time, the name of the ITD Cementation was Cemindia. So they constructed, they were pioneer in diaphragm wall construction. So here, this is the diaphragm wall, and at the backside of the diaphragm wall, a lot of series of piles are there, and on pile and this series of pile and this diaphragm wall, this slab is constructed, and over the slab, basically the roadway is there. That means that all these vehicles are moving over the slab, which is a part of this berth. Now, this berth was, in fact, I went to in 2018. This picture was taken by me. In 2018, they were planning to enhance the capacity of this berth. This berth was designed in the year 1992 by me for a 70,000 DWT capacity. After that, around 2018, they intended to use this berth for 1,25,000 DWT. So for this, what they considered, instead of going for a new berth, they tried to that design was also proof checked by from our side. They tried to strengthen the structure. This is one of such pictures where in front of this berth, series of sheet piles in the form of circular pile, which will be filled up with concrete later, and these are joined with this earlier construction. This construction was done by me in 92, and it was constructed in 95, and these piles are being constructed in the year 2018. And this is a very interesting study, because in the year 1995 it was done, but what this from 95 to 2018 is a lot of years have passed. So we have seen that we have tried to find out what is at present what is the existing condition of the structure. So after assessing the existing condition, then we found that we can go for strengthening of the structure, and after that we have taken the decision of doing this strengthening. And this is another picture where the pre-stressed ground anchor is being done in the same place. That means one thing here, when the ship is being berthed on this berthing structure, it will hit the berth. That means there will be huge horizontal force in the structure. And this diaphragm wall and successive piles are there at the back of the diaphragm wall. This is the frame system which will carry this horizontal pull, horizontal force in towards the berth. But these are the toes these are the ropes which are tied with this structure, which is basically called the mooring structure. These mooring structures are there just to avoid this ship to move away. There will be huge horizontal wind force, and with that wind force, this ship may move from the berth. So to arrest that movement, this has been done. But what is happening? This is a pulling the structure. This one, when the mooring force is coming, is a pulling the structure. But the moment the additional structures which we have provided here, that will not be adequate enough for the horizontal berthing force in that direction of the force which is towards the berth. But when this mooring pull is coming, these additional piles will not be adequate enough. That's why we have gone for this kind of pre-stressed ground anchors. These ground anchors are going inside the earth, and as a result, the moment there'll be some horizontal force away from the berth, these ground anchors will take part. So this is instead of going for a new structure, they have considered the same structure. And we have done the study so that we have done the existing structure, condition of the existing structure, and after that, this decision has been taken that we can go for strengthening of the structure. So what I have tried to show you some of the structures which I have been associated in the design in my career, which is in one way or other well thought of, and where the impact on environment should be minimum. As a conclusion, what I can say to the students that civil engineering as a profession is very interesting profession. You can use your mathematics ability, you can use your intelligence, your all sorts of mental faculties. But at the same time, whatever we do, whatever the construction we do, construction development we do, we have to think in mind, we have to keep this thing in mind, that our structure should be economic, should be safe, and at the same time, it should be self-sustainable. In the process, it will lead us to a sustainable future. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for the enriching session. I hope the students came to know a lot about the modern eco-friendly techniques used in construction fields in civil engineering. Next, we have our third alumni speak, Shaurya Roy, pass out batch 2018, who is a very sincere student, and presently he is the teaching assistant at IIT Guwahati and pursuing MTech in water resource engineering. Shaurya, if you kindly tell us about the new facets or trends in civil engineering technology that may emerge in the coming years. Also, tell us, how did your educational background at OmDayal Group of Institutions prepare you for your current role?
First of all, good evening, everyone.
Welcome, Shaurya. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Respected professors, guest speakers, and my dear alumni. I'm really obliged to be a part of this webinar. Over here, I'm currently pursuing my MTech in civil engineering, water resource engineering and management being its specialization department. But before that, I'm an alumni of OmDayal Group of Institution. I'm a 2018 pass out batch. And now coming to my experience as a civil engineer, I would first like to share my thoughts, and for that I would like to refer respected Sunil sir's presentation, where in the first few slides he stated that how he did not want to study civil engineering, but from that how he gained interest in that field. Similar thing happened with me as well, sir. At first I did not decide to study civil engineering. I had some other plans, but due to some reason I moved my career towards civil engineering. But there, sir, similarly some subjects were a bit difficult for me. But on the same hand, in first year, some subjects were there which made me really, which made the civil engineering department an interesting department for me. One of them was engineering chemistry, which later in my degree course helped a lot. And our respected Professor Sukanya ma'am was our professor of engineering chemistry in first year. Now, this engineering chemistry later led to environmental engineering in the final year and pre-final year in civil engineering, which is a main part in nowadays in civil engineering department. And other than engineering chemistry, there are also other basic subjects which were taught in the first year, which actually helps us to carry out different specializations that we study, that we want to pursue within our later part of our career. And civil engineering, in my terms, in my views, is a main point, main area to form a growth in the sustainable development. And not only sustainable development, sir, in every aspect, civil engineering has a wide range of opportunities, and one of them is my profession that I am studying with, pursuing with, that is water resource engineering, which has helped a lot in my future plannings as well. And this was only possible because of the professors and the teaching methods that were done in my BTech college. In BTech only I got across all the knowledges that were required in civil engineering profession, starting from structural engineering to environmental, transportation, and all other engineering departments. And later on, among one of them, environmental and water resource engineering was the subject that I took, because to me, it was a really interesting subject, as Sunil sir told in his presentation, that civil engineering offers a wide range of subjects. And to be more precise, if you can gain interest in any one of the subject, it will provide a lot of opportunities to you. Any subjects, be it geotechnical, be it environment, all the subjects have a lot of opportunities, and you will be able to, every student who is studying and pursuing any one of these subjects will have a lot of opportunity to pursue with this in his future. And coming to sustainable development as a sustainable future, civil engineering being a bridge of sustainable future. Over there, I would like to say that in my MTech degree, I have been working on remedies of pollution, which includes a main technique, that is bioremediation. Now, bioremediation has a main, it can be coined as a part of sustainable development, because nowadays, other than previously in bioremediation, microorganisms were used, but now recently, in the recent days, nanoorganisms, nanoparticles are also being used in order to prevent the water pollution that are increasing day by day, especially in the freshwater bodies. And with the help of these nanoparticles and microorganisms only, we have been not only able to remediate the problems of water pollution, but also we have been protecting the fauna and the aquatic ecosystem with least amount of effects that are possible to be given to those. And that's all, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shorjo. Next, we have Tasneem Ali, pass out batch 2019. Apart from being a very hardworking and sincere student, she has been able to pursue master's degree in sustainable cities from the prestigious University of Leeds, UK. Tasneem, what trends do you foresee in your field, and why do you recommend the freshers for joining OmDayal Group of Institutions?
Firstly, I'd like to thank the civil engineering faculty for the wonderful 4 years, especially to GB sir, who has been there to guide me throughout my entire course. And even now, I still look up to him for advice. So yeah, so this is the reason that I'd like to say that one should join. We have a lot of reasons why we should join civil engineering from the various speakers that we've had until now. But the reason why we should pursue this degree from OmDayal Group of Institutions, from this department, is because the faculty is really amazing. The teachers are really well equipped with all the modern knowledge and information that is required. And the support that you receive from them is impeccable. They will always be there to constantly guide you and support you if anytime you happen to get stuck. So apart from these, there are also other factors that really stands this department out of the others, is that there are a lot of seminars that keep happening within the different semesters, the different training, the internships that we are provided with, and the field trips that we were taken into. We were taken into field trips for almost every year. So that is something that one should look for when looking for colleges to pursue the civil engineering degree. So this is why I would recommend this particular department in OmDayal group of institutions. Now, since our topic is sustainable future and it's related to civil engineering, so just the fact that 70% of the structures of construction that will be seen in 2030 is yet to be built. So we are only 30% there and 70% is yet to be built. So this fact alone makes it very evident that there will be a huge demand for civil engineers in the near future. And also I'd like to add that apart from the demand for civil engineers, there will be a bigger demand for people, for engineers who are well equipped with the concept of sustainability, because it is a need, because it is not an option that we have right now, it is a need and we have to look into it. And so just for the fact that CO2 emissions is one of the greenhouse gases that is responsible for global warming and the changing climate temperature and this increasing sea levels. So CO2 emissions need to be in check. And the fact that the construction sector alone is responsible for around 38% of CO2 emissions is very alarming. And we need to definitely, we need to go for a transition from an unsustainable field to a sustainable industry, a civil engineering industry. And so that is something that needs to be looked after, because the world is really looking forward to reducing the greenhouse gases, the CO2 emissions. And we have a lot of pacts and pleas and pledges going on around the world, such as the Paris Agreement, the COP26 meetings that keeps happening. So these are a few of the pledges that, international pledges that we are working together, and civil engineers definitely do play a very important role in it, because as I said, 38% of CO2 emissions is not a very small number. So now one may think like how we can actually bring about a change being an engineer, which is completely in a technical field. But that is not the case, because engineers really do play a very big part in it. And that is because we are the ones responsible for choosing the building materials that we decide to construct the structures or construct several other infrastructures. So here is one factor that should be considered, is the building materials. So the building materials, like Gigi sir had mentioned earlier, they can be used of green concrete, they can be a use of more fly ash and such products as well. And particularly what we are now seeing is that there is an emerging demand for straw bale in the West, which is yet to be adopted by India. So I believe that will again be a very interesting perspective to look at the straw bales being used as building materials in the construction industry. So that is something that is really exciting. So another factor that can be considered is that the civil engineers need to make sure that there is public participation, because sustainability is basically divided into three pillars, which involves the environment, social, and the economic. So while we are looking at the environment and the economic, we also need to look at the social impact of the structures that we are erecting there. So there should be a huge number of public participation. The civil engineers must be well acquainted with the structures they are building, and how will they prove to be, how will it impact on the people that are living nearby. Or if they are building a building, then how will it impact the residents? And so definitely the buildings need to be net zero, and should be more sustainable in different aspects like materials and energy and heating, cooling, and all of these. So these are the few ways. Then also one also needs to look at the carbon footprint of the structures they are building, because carbon footprint is a very important point when doing constructions, such as making sure that the building materials they are using needs to be locally sourced, so there is a lesser footprint being left behind by the structure. And also the life cycle assessment needs to be done more properly, so that the assets have a longer period of life cycle and they need low maintenance. And even if they do need maintenance in the later period of the phase, then it will not be costing as much as it used to do in the past. So these are some aspects of how a civil engineering can contribute to the building sustainability transition phase that we are in India right now. So yeah, so these are the perspectives that we can look into. And now if one is looking to diversify their options, then like everyone has mentioned before, we should always pick our niche, because it always has to be something that interests us in order to excel in it. So if you are interested in transport engineering, and if you're also interested in sustainability, then you can always opt for sustainable transport planning and management. There is sustainable transport engineering. If you're interested in project management, there's these courses called International Sustainable Project Management, Project Construction and Management. So similarly, if you're interested in sustainability and civil engineering, there are a lot of urban management studies. There are sustainable development studies. So one can always look into that. And so yeah, this is what the future looks like for sustainability in India and diversified views. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tasneem. Now moving on to the last part of the webinar, we will again hand over to Professor Bondapatha. Sir, please enrich us on all the career opportunities that are likely to come to civil engineering graduates in the next 5 years. Sir, please.
Good evening. Where my previous speakers has left, I'll pick up from there. Now see, I mean, our Sumanto sir, so you have seen where we can reach civil engineers. So there it's a wide range of, I mean, subjects are involved in civil engineering. Okay. And say, I mean, now, I mean, just Tasneem was talking about the materials. Nowadays, I mean, we have to look for the recycling of the material, whether it is your concrete or, I mean, your road material. So that is actually called sustainability. Okay, now move on. I mean, in the next 10 years, given our cities and villages, the infrastructure we are going to face this infrastructural problems. Kamrul, please share. The infrastructure is I mean, in the 21st century, infrastructure is a real problem where we have to sustainable and specific growth is required. And to meet this growth, the highways, more houses, more airports, and so on, more cities, mass urbanization is required. So human-related improvements in the field, civil engineers are expected to face many obstacles, and including environmental and infrastructural problems. Kamrul, please share the slides. This now this course, the civil engineering identifies the factors influencing the global climate systems and assess the impacts of climate change on global and local scales, and also identify the environmental and strategies to mitigate them. Now, RICS, Kamrul, can you hear me? Can you please share the slides? Go to the second one, my second presentation. Now, RICS, Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, forecast, as I already told you in my first presentation, 44 million crore supply deficit of civil engineering in India by 2025. So this is there are plenty of prospects in the future for talented civil engineers practitioners, and the reach of the civil engineering is vast, as we have already discussed. There is a wide varieties of your subjects and specifications are there. Now, moreover, the experimentally and exponentially increasing ability is why this job is named as evergreen engineering. As in my first presentation I have told, this is one of the oldest and one of the strong and evergreen engineering. Students studying in civil engineering in 2021 will study and practice high-end national and international projects with the proper qualification. That, I mean, already Sumanto has indicated from his experience. So while this sector plays a role in our growth of the country, many students still opt for other departments or disciplines. It is mainly because the students are oblivious of India's scale and future of civil engineering in India in 10 years. Let us then discuss the ramification of the future of civil engineer. So actually, students are not properly guided. Now, what is the growth of the country? We have seen, as I have mentioned, that I mean, say for the in the last 10 to 5 years. See, now we can cross the this only by your link C-link. In earlier it was 45 to 50 minutes it took to connect the Bandra. Now it can take only 15 minutes. Okay, so so that is our development in the I mean civil infrastructure. And then this this Spiti Valley, this your Atal Tunnel. Now Atal Tunnel, it is actually 9.8 kilometer and at altitude, at the high altitude. Now it is now connecting the Spiti Valley in just 15 minutes. Whether now earlier it was I mean it took actually 3 to 3.5 hours to journey to the Spiti Valley from Manali. So there is a growing need of such new technologies, and it is happening. We have seen the tunnel below the Ganges River, and the highest this bridge just now you have seen from understand from Sumanto sir, and similarly one highest railway bridge just now. I mean it is under construction. It will be getting completed in the expected in completing in 2021. That is at Kashmir. Okay, now see market. Now I'll give you some insight of in some I mean graphical form where actually what is the demand of the country. Now markets growth. Markets growth. The civil engineering is not only restricted to our country's territorial limits. The civil engineering sector is expected to grow by 11.72 billion US dollar by 2025. So it is according to a Global Business Insight. It is a study there. Okay, on the global newswire. Now, growth of population and your urbanization was one of the factors for this exponential progress of the engineering discipline. So students will focus on sustainable infrastructure solution, green buildings, and more from one of the world's finest engineering institute by completing a curriculum. Now, demand as I told you, by 2025, we expect there will be a growth of 95 billion square feet of area. That means the building area. So that building area, the industry require adequate human resources to fulfill this order. Despite such high demand, the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors estimate real estate and infrastructure construction professional in India by 80 growth will be 80 to 86% of for qualified civil engineer requirement of qualified civil engineers and architects. These are a few statistics which indicate that these specialists shortly are in huge demand. Now, let us requirement of innovation. See, now you must understand, just by doing a degree, it will not serve the purpose. If you like to raise your flag above all, then you have to learn much more things. That is softwares. Already you know civil engineering software. Then planning softwares you have to learn. In 2021, the need for sustainable design and structure is critical. Many of our speakers already spoken about this and will be highlighted in the short term. Professionals from structural engineering fields always will play an increasingly important role in advancing modern era and innovative methods of building, protecting the environment, and to benefit from the quality of life. So actually, I mean, people, we are looking for a quality of life. While every industry is critical to economic development, the infrastructure is a significant driver to the growth worldwide in the 21st century. So, as I told you, we need more highways, more airports, more construction of buildings, and to solve the mass challenges. But we are forgetting to tell about your major industrial structures. See, without power plant, without steel, your plant, cement plant, your society grow. We are neglecting these areas. So for the future development, because when there is a growth, you need more power. You need more steel plant to produce steel. Why you have to import the steel from the China or other countries? We should be sustainable enough to produce steel in our country, because as there is no demand, and China is pushing all these their materials in our country, and we are accepting it. So that's why Indian counterpart is not producing the steel. Similarly, cement also. So we have to think about how economically we can produce these materials like cement, steel, and that can be absorbed and can be sold in our country itself, and we can export also those things. So we have to think in that regard. Now, versatility. Civil engineering today is not only tied to the development of highway or construction and bridges. The branches is further categorized to 4 to 5 more 4 to 5 more forms due to advancement of technology and market demand. Aspirant to civil engineering should imagine conducting a career in one of the following niches: structural materials, metropolitan, hydraulic, shore, ocean, and port. There are just a few places. This division is going to have much more to share when we established 10 years ago. Why I'm talking about the major sector, power sector, steel industry? Because employment, major employment is there only. So, I mean, many of the engineers, not only engineers, your civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers are required by those industries, big industries, and they require also more skilled labor. We should not think about only our engineers. We should have to think about our potential of the skilled workers. So that's why we have to nurture and we have to develop this industry also in future. Now, for the environment, sustainable planning includes proper architecture, building service, and retaining technology, strategies, and financial planning. Now let us go to the slides. So please go to the slides. Now let me in the meantime I tell you now a lot of new diversified things you have to learn. That is artificial intelligence in construction, robotic in construction, Internet of Things. I mean, see now to construct a smart city or your smart your building, you have to think about the this automation in the building. Okay, how you will use the electricity, how effectively you can use. When you will enter the flat, then only your electricity will be on. So all these things you have to think about it, and for this you require artificial intelligence in construction. And for this similarly for your this to expedite the construction, you have to use we have to use the slip form shuttering, robotic. You have to use the robot for brickwork and plastering. So all these are coming. And civil engineering is taking shape day by day using the modern technology. Now let me share. You please share the slides. So yes, that. So after agriculture, construction industry is the second largest in the country. Construction industry comprises 200 firms in the corporate sector. In addition to these firms, about 1,20,000 Class A contractors are registered with various government bodies. So what is the depth of employment? Because we are not, we don't know actually, and we are not utilizing, and our this central government and state government should they should make certain policies liberal so that they can attract the contractor and developer to invest. There are nearly 348 central public sector enterprises and thousands of small contractors. So they are also absorbing the civil engineers. Okay, next slide, please. So this now market synopsis. So this is in the with regard to global civil engineering market. We should not think about only the India, but when I am discussing about the global, it reflects the actually major of the development will come in the next 4 years in the South Asia Pacific region. So this is according to the global market study. Now the global civil engineering market is anticipated to witness tremendous growth in the upcoming years, which is attributed to the rise of disposable income coupled with technological advancement in the civil engineering. We should learn about we should have to acquire the knowledge. Not only that, you should know where the employment is coming up, where is the growth. This also we have to know. Okay, so now high demand for residential and infrastructure in emerging economies such as China, India, and other South Asian countries. So these are the major growth will come, development will come. Okay, we all know China have more manpower and money power, so they will develop faster than us. But we are not also far behind. Okay, so and the South Asian countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, they are also coming up on a very fast pace. So the growth this further expected to generate impressive growth of the civil engineering market in the new next few years. Not only that, see, invention of the nanotechnology and Internet of Things and your artificial intelligence. Further, we are, research is going on these things, and these are actually showing moving towards technology developed country. In order to improve structure, large investment by government sector is anticipated to boost the demand of global civil engineering market by end of 2023. The impressive growth in the real estate sector in the developing countries of Asia Pacific, such as India and China, Indonesia, Vietnam, will also enhance the demand for civil engineering market. Now, global civil engineering market expected to witness a CAGR of compound account growth rate of around 5.4% of the forecast period. However, lack of skilled labor can be major restraint for the civil engineering market. Not only skilled labor, that means parallelly engineers, civil engineers also. Next slide, please. Now, according to the MRFR analysis, it is a global scenario. Civil engineering market would achieve as I told you, compound annual growth rate of 5.4% during the forecast period. Forecast period is up to 2028. The Asia Pacific region would lead civil engineering market because all the developed countries, they have already saturated their development and construction. They are now only demolishing the old building and going for the new construction. So high technological inclusion in the construction industry, as I told you, we have to go for roboting and your Internet of Things, then artificial intelligence. Then only we can progress fast. So we'll back civil engineering market. The construction segment will dominate civil engineering market. So as I told you, the global this report of what is global civil engineering market size was valued up to at USD dollar US dollar 7.74 trillion in 2020, and it is expected to grow at the rate of 5.7% from 2021 to 2028. So see the growth. So rapid industrialization and urbanization in emerging economies, coupled with the growing focus on the development of high quality infrastructure, is required worldwide and in our India. But to match this, our government should think of this thing, how to cope up with this thing, how to develop and how to liberalize their, program and to attract the foreign investors. So they have to think about this, but growth, automatically growth will come. An increasing number of infrastructure and capital projects is projected to boost the growth of the construction segment, which in turn is expected to drive the product demand over the forecast period. Increasing consumer disposable income in emerging economies is anticipated. Even in this hospitality and health sector, there has to have further development. Under looking at this pandemic situation, we have shortage of hospital and infrastructure. So there should be investment in this sector also to drive the real estate segment, hospital sector, and thereby driving the growth of the industry. So next slide, please. Now see, this is though, in the case of 2017 to 2028 in the China, but it is similar to our country also. You will see, now see, in 2021, there is a slump. Okay, now see, from 2024, it is rising. The growth rate is rising. Development has to rise. From 2024. So this is a scenario for 2017-28. So don't think India is lagging. Even for the globally also from 2017 they are decreasing. Development was decreasing, but it will take again. It will be on the ladder from 2024 onwards. Now, rapid urbanization along with the industrial manufacturing activities in emerging economies, including China, India, and South Korea, are anticipated to boost the market growth in the Asia Pacific. So, as I have already mentioned, it will be a growth of 2021 to 2028, 5.7%. Okay, next slide, please. So this is, you see, we should be not only learn your basics. You have to learn this criteria, as mentioned by Sunil sir. You should be out of the box. People should see you above all. So you should have leadership criteria. You should have innovative ideas, and you should be global person and multi-professional and technology. Global person means your communication skill has to be improved. You have to learn and you have to communicate with the more people. So you have to be a global person, and you have to be a leader. If you have the leadership criteria, then only you can rule over others. So you should be out of the box. Okay, and along with your technological and innovative ideas. See, engineering is nothing but a common sense. Whatever you have learned in your 10 plus 12 and the engineering 4 year, you have to apply those things in your practical field with your common sense and that background only. Next slide, please. Now, this collaboration, when will actually when you enter into any graduation, undergraduate studies, we always try to link this industry academic collaboration, to learn from the industry, and we, arrange the lectures. We call, professional experts like Sunil sir, Sumanto sir, and we provide internship to the various companies, and we provide mentorship and training during their vacation. And there are, and we tell them to diversify. Please on to the diversify field. There you have to grow and you have to nurture, but you have to think yourself, what is your niche, what is your interest, and you develop that skill, and then only you'll be able to to go to the top of your career. Okay, next slide please. So as you know, already we have discussed, hydraulics is a part of civil engineering, coastal and ocean, structural, materials, urban planning and design. Then surveying. The surveying includes this GIS and geoinformatics. It is a new subject, but you should. There is a lot of scenarios are coming up, and you should. In the your post graduation, you can think of this geoinformatics. Okay, because you can see Google and all, they are using maps. Where from? They have to learn this geoinformatics only, and for our survey, drone and everything, it depends on depending upon these maps, which is actually accumulating by this geoinformatics. Then estimation and valuation. Without estimation and valuation, you are not a complete civil engineer. So from tendering, starting of the tendering to the completion of the project, you have to estimate properly, and so that you can save money on the completion of the project. And you have to know the many design tools like STAD. You are already when you are at college, you learn this thing, AutoCAD and STAD. But I'll tell you to learn the Microsoft project and Primavera if you are interested to go for a job in Middle East or other countries. Then you have to learn this packages. Okay, so they actually you will get a this advantage over others if you know these packages. Okay, next slide please. So corporate have started to offer student entry-level programs, though it is not. It started in our West Bengal, but we are. Already we are in tie-up with the National Training Institute. Then other our partners are also there. We are giving training and time to time conducting examination to know your skill where you are standing. Okay, starting from your aptitude and other things. Okay, next slide please. So already I have told the real estate business, construction, building, infrastructure and industrial. This is the major chunk of civil engineering. Of course, real estate means not only this building, roads and bridges. Your transportation system is also coming under the real estate. Unless that is developed, your real estate will not be a complete structure. Okay, next please. Structural and environment, already we have discussed water treatment. Not only water treatment, environmental friendly design is required, study of pollution and the solid waste management. So this is for any municipal area. This is nowadays must. Otherwise, and you should learn how to make compost out of this solid waste. Okay, so this is also a part of civil engineering. Okay, next slide please. And as we have mentioned, and this Priyank and Taslim was mentioning that carbon credit is the need of the hour. So unless you have to buy the carbon credit, one day will come. You have to. Now it has already started with the industry, but as a personal, as an individual, day will come when you have to buy carbon. If you are carbon, you are living releasing the carbon more than the actually the stipulated, then you have to buy carbon. Okay, so that is called carbon credit. So that is also in need of the hour and already in force for the industrial your industries. Okay. So water resource and hydrology, I mean, your Surya already, I mean, completing his study in water resource. Actually, I am also teaching this water resource and hydrology and hydraulic structures. So this is, see, without, I mean, for dam and canal, you cannot, I mean, your resources, you cannot use your resources properly, then there will be difficulty, and water is scarce nowadays. So you should know how to store the water. So that's why the dam canal storage system is required. So, and waterways, Sumanta sir already mentioned the port. So that is also coming under the waterways. Urban planning, you know, I mean, you see our Rajarhat, Newtown, the development. So further, it is, I mean, going up to this side, south, your Barwipur, and north up to Barakpur. So that is called urbanization, and for urbanization, urban planning is must. Okay. Next slide. So coastal and ocean. So as I told you, this port, not only port. See, you should see. I mean, nowadays we are facing every year this cyclone, okay, storm. So how will prepare for that thing, and how I will make safe houses in the Sundarban Delta area. So that is also part of our study, and we should learn. So there is also a lot of investment is required, and I think, I mean, our West Bengal government must be thinking because, I mean, they are making certain temporary shipment, but I mean, again, next year we have to make. So unnecessarily we are investing money. So there should be permanent structure in those regions. Okay. Next slide. Transportation already discussed by Sumanto sir. I will not go into detail. Geotechnical, unless you know geotechnical soil foundation, you will not be able to construct the foundation. So soil investigation, soil exploration is must. Then only you can design structure, and you can what is the load is coming and how much bearing capacity of soil can sustain. Based on that, you have to design that foundation. Okay, next. Whether it will be a deep foundation or shallow foundation. So GIS, remote sensing, I have mentioned, and geoinformatics, creating drawings and database analysis and reports, working on CAD GIS software. So there is a software, so you have to know the software and you can use those things. So this is very important nowadays. Researching the utilities and base map. Last week we have a seminar on this also. Utility and support devices, design, implement and maintain utility infrastructure. Utility infrastructure means water, gas, oil exploration, and for our this sending satellite to our this your launching pad is also comes under civil engineering design. Next, please. So see, this already discussed by Sunil sir. So where you can, I mean, step in. What are the scope? The state government-owned authority. These are the state government-owned authority. PWD, like Central CPWD, WSPSB, WBPDCL, Calcutta Electric Supply, Pollution Control Board, highways that comes under again PWD. Geology and mining, HITCO, WBIDC, planning and development and special initiative, and municipal administration and urban, that is KMC, HITCO, then Newtown, and this municipality. So everywhere, I mean, scopes are there. Next. So already discussed by Sunil sir, so I am not going to in detail, but here I'll mention certain things. See, consultants. In Kolkata, I was in development consultant private limited for 30 years. Okay, so they are the consultant, like even those two. DCPL is pioneer in power consultant. Even those two pioneer in steel consultancy. Desin nowadays in again power consultant. Jacob is in oil and offshore structures. Okay, and Bechtel is also there again oil, and EIL is the your Engineers India Limited as a government sector for your oil sector, and Mekon is for again steel sector. So this is also a government undertaking. Mekon is at Ranchi, EIL is at Delhi. Okay, and Jacob is at Bombay and Delhi. Bechtel is also at Delhi. Okay, next slide. So there are many consultant and companies are there. So that if you are interested, the viewers, we can discuss later on. And those who are joining will discuss during your graduation program. So already it is known to you your discussed. This is also, you can go for this examination, SSC, that is through Staff Service Commission. You can get jobs in CPWD, Water and Irrigation Department, all central jobs available in India, UPSC for administrative jobs, and you can become, say, Class A Gazette Officer in central government. You know, Sunil sir joined Railway after cracking engineering services. So you can, if you have talent, then you can go for engineering services also. Okay. So after cracking engineering services, sir joined Indian Railways. So it is not a simple. It is a very tough competition. But if you have a Jill, you can crack it. Now GATE for post graduation. Only GATE examination, you have to crack the GATE examination, as our Suryo has cracked GATE, and then he has joined IIT Guwahati. Not only that, for this your private undertaking, government undertaking, they are nowadays actually recruiting to this GATE marks. So you have to you should appear for the GATE examination also in future when you are joining, and those who are actually in the undergraduate study. And IS already I have mentioned. Okay, next. So this already DRDO, Defense Research Organization, ISRO, that is Space Research Organization, BARC, your Bhava Atomic Research Center. So atomic, your nuclear power plant is another division of the power plant, and nowadays we are nurturing on solar energy and wind energy. Okay, so there are also lot of opportunities are coming, and actually we should nurture this renewable energy. And PSC through what the government recruits people through a series of examination, state level and UPSC for your national level. Okay, next. So geotechnical engineering, already I have told you, geotechnical and water resources, cost estimating and control. I have already mentioned about the estimation and valuation. Without that, your engineering will not be completed. Civil engineering will not be a foolproof civil engineer. Okay, next. So there are a lot of things, quantity surveying in your future endeavor. In post graduation, you can go for even for ISO 9001 post graduation in that sector. Project management, there are a lot of your organization is there, and colleges are there, institutions are there. Quantity surveying and surveying. Okay, next. So there are many jobs are available under this quantity surveying and project management. What to do with an uncertain situation? Now you are thinking about this is an uncertain situation. Do not rely more on situation. It will pass away. Do not lose your hands. Be prepared to inherit the opportunities. you think about the opportunity, where the opportunities come, and be steady and just, whenever the opportunities will be seen, just you apply and go for that. Okay, next. Now, if you are, interested in global opportunities, Canada is one of the places, and New Zealand and Australia. Now, India is actually, see, the where GDP. This civil engineering and construction is actually 8% of the GDP. See? And Europe, 9% of the GDP. New Zealand and Australia, 5%, and Canada is 7% of GDP. So India, actually, we are on much dependent on this field. It is 8% is GDP is coming from this field, your civil engineering and construction field. So there has to be development in this sector. Otherwise, your country's economy will get down. So over recent years, the demand for civil engineers, structural engineers in country, as I mentioned, Canada, Australia, precasting, prefab. This is another subject and another niche areas, new areas where this all buildings nowadays are as a prefab. We are constructing the building as a prefab, and then it has been transported to south side. So to avoid your to save space in the site and other to save the environment. Okay, next. So that is our wrapping up. The future of civil engineering in India is big, but you need imaginative and creative skill with decent computers, mathematics and science. Civil engineers in India are overloaded and will expand in the years and upgrade in infrastructure. The job for the public sector also would open up many. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. I am sure the audience really benefited by your lecture and must have got enough food for thought for days to come. Next, we come to the question answer session. Sir, there is one question from the audience. What is the eligibility criteria for admission to civil engineering?
As already I have mentioned in my first presentation, 10+2 PCB means physics, chemistry, mathematics.
Okay. Next, another question, sir. Do civil engineers always work on site?
Not really. It depends upon your interest. Okay, yes, more employment is in project management and construction field. But if you have niche, then you can join design engineering. Even in the for planning job, you can join any office. But that depends upon your studies and your niche and your interest. See, one of our alumni is she is at office. Our Sudeshna, she is at office. She is there as a design engineer, highway design engineer. So it depends upon your interest and how you are faring at your study.
Thank you, sir. Next, do I need specialization after I complete my BTech in civil engineering?
See, if you ask me really, yes, sometimes it is. Okay, but if your this development is going in fast pace, then you need not. Then you need not. But if there is a slow pace development, then definitely, as I told you, your flag should be above all. So you should know. You have to learn some more things. Like you go for your post graduation diploma in construction management or MBA in project management, then quantity surveying. So that will be required. So it depends. It depends upon the situation. You should be eye should be open. Depending upon the growth, depending upon the requirement, you have to think of. But definitely, if you learn, if you study, go for higher study, your employment will be easier and you will get more salary. Remuneration will be more.
Thank you, sir. Looks like we answered all your questions. Now we come to the end of the webinar. I would like to thank all our distinguished speakers for making excellent presentations and making this webinar interesting and meaningful. Special thanks to all the ex-students for participating in the webinar. I would also like to thank all the audience for being with us this evening. It has been a great pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.